we're safe now. The compound can withstand any storm. Let's go into the den. We can sit on the couch together and ride the storm out there. I'll light a fire. There now. That should help warm you. Come here. Let me hold you. It will be all right, I promise. You're right. It's not a natural storm. Tanis is angry, and he's feeding it, directing the lightning, but it doesn't matter. The island is protected, the compound even more so. He can't harm us. Sweetheart, I have done something. I've made this island impervious to his tantrums. Once upon a time, I used to fight Tanis when he'd do something like this. It would expend a tremendous energy, calming the raging sea and stilling the wind. Now, I just let him have his temper tantrum. Out here, so far from others, there isn't much real harm he can do. By the time the waves reach the mainland, they aren't dangerous. I always worry this is just a distraction, and the real attack will come from another front. But that is something you don't need to hear right now. Yes, Tanis and I have a modicum of control of the elements. Mostly, we can enhance what's already there. Yes, I suppose now that you share in the power of the continuum, you'll be able to manipulate the elements as well, once you learn how. No, I don't believe the original Atlanteans were able to do that. They were technologically advanced, and they had telepathy, but as far as I can figure, that was the extent of their powers. I'm not sure if it's evolved over time or was a gift from the continuum. As the centuries passed by, I learned to do more and more. Yes, of course I'll teach you. Who taught me? Well, no one, I suppose. Perhaps the continuum guided me subconsciously. I don't know. Mostly it was trial and error from what I remember. Are you warm enough now? I'm glad. You feel good here beside me. I never realized how lonely I was until you washed up on my shore. Having you here has been very special. Shh, don't be afraid. I won't let anything happen to you. I give you my word. Isn't the crackling of the fire peaceful? There's no place I'd rather be than sitting here with you in my arms. There's no need to worry. Tanis will give up in an hour or two. He always does. Meanwhile, we'll just sit here and enjoy each other's company. Certainly, You can ask me anything. How did Tanis and I become enemies? We aren't really, not in the sense you mean. We were never comrades who became adversaries after some falling out. Shh, it's going to be all right. All right, sweetheart. I'll tell you how Tanis and I ended up being the last two Atlanteans walking the face of the earth. But be warned, it's a story of sacrifice and betrayal. You have to remember, once we got off the ship, we had no memories of Atlantis or our mission. The original plan had been for us to find a new homeland, to rebuild Atlantis, then go back and bring the others out of stasis. No, we couldn't. Once the continuum wiped our memories, our purpose was lost. Many left the ship the first time we made landfall upon a populated shore. Others of us traveled on. Perhaps we had an inkling of the original plan remaining within our subconscious. I don't really know. Eventually, I left the ship too and settled within a coastal town. The point is, we'd lost our identity, and many tried to integrate into the communities in which we found ourselves, and that included fighting in their wars. While we were genetically altered to be basically immortal, we can be killed in a few ways. As the years passed, occasionally, one of us would fall. It took time, but eventually we made the connection that if a comrade that had been on the ship with us died, then we would experience an increase in our strength and power. Once that connection was made, some became obsessed with gaining as much power as possible, no matter the cost. Rogues, as we called them, would go on killing sprees. They hunted down those of us that had been on the ship and killed them to gain their power. Yes, I'm sure some humans were also killed, but it was always possible to recognize a fellow Atlantean. There was just something unmistakable, a subtle power that seemed to emanate from within them. I can't describe it, but there was never any doubt when we came upon each other. Unfortunately, Tanis wasn't the only rogue. Throughout the years, there were several that chose to pursue power over all else. Once we realized what was happening, several of us banded together to protect one another. We were naive and unknowingly brought a rogue into our midst. You must understand, the rogues had no allegiance beyond themselves, so we had no way of knowing that Jaeger was only biding his time, gaining our trust. He fought at our sides, grew strong and skilled, learned our techniques. When we discovered a rogue was on a spree, we would send out teams of 2 or 3 warriors to remove the threat. Jaeger was sent on one such mission. He was the only one to return. We believed him, sought to comfort him. We all knew the pain of losing a comrade in battle, the feelings of guilt and of recrimination. He asked to be sent out again on the next mission, and we believed it stemmed from a need to prove himself. It was decided to send him out again, but a backup team was dispatched as well. They were to stay in the background, but be available if he got in over his head. Instead, they caught him as he turned against his team. It was a major blow. The trust we had developed between us was shaken. We no longer had complete faith in our team. Don't be alarmed. That's the computer system. Come, let's see what it's found. Oh my, do you see that? The storm Tanis has created is affecting the ocean floor. It's pushing sediment away from that area. Yes, it happens more often than was once thought, if the winds are strong enough. Look at the sonar mapping. My heart is racing. I'm afraid to believe my eyes. Am I seeing what's there? Or what I've wanted to be seeing for so long? Tell me you see it too. Yes, pillars and columns. Could it be? I've got to send the submersibles closer. See if they can pick up something definitive. Oh, Eden, do you know what this could mean? To find Atlantis after all this time. Shh, come here. The compound was constructed to withstand a Category 5 hurricane. Plus, I have highly advanced buffers around the island that minimize the impact. We're going to be all right, I promise you. Tanis is trying to scare us into fighting him, trying to call us out, onto his turf, where he has the advantage. I'm sure of it. But what he doesn't realize is the intensity of the storm has uncovered the first major glimpse of what I believe to be Atlantis. We should be thanking him. His tantrum has given us an untold treasure.